Hello. I hope this works. Like, my internet kind of sucks and it keeps like dropping out. Let me try, okay? Uh, hmm. Wow, the internet is so bad. I don't know how. Uh, okay. Hey, for those of you who are coming from the for those of you coming from the other the live stream I scheduled, right? Please come to this link. Yeah. Okay. Is anyone here? Okay, and I'm just letting in my friend into this stream. So she's actually much better at poetry than I am. Yeah, so I'm mostly just a spectator for today. And Jacqueline, are you there? So we're already streaming live, okay?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I couldn't get the thing to work properly, but okay,
Wait,
it's kind of
what?
working lah.
Wait, what
So
thing?
let's I'll just set up everything, okay?
Okay.
Never mind, like, it's not important. Anyway, basically the original thing I set up doesn't work. So just come to this. So we're doing this new link. And then yeah, I'm gonna set up all the things, okay? Meanwhile, if you're free, can you I don't know, give sort of your idea of why we're doing this whole live stream for the poems?
Wait, you're talking to me, right?
Yeah. There's no one else to talk to.
Oh,
I mean
sorry.
the chat
So
cannot reply. Yeah. Uh-huh.
okay, so we've been thinking about doing something on poetry for quite a while, and we decided that since this week we weren't gonna upload a video, so we're gonna do a live stream and talk about some Chinese poems. And we picked the Tang 诗三百首, so the 300 Tang poems, because it's the most kind of famous volume out there. And for most of us, if we think about Tang poetry, we would have in mind a poem that's probably from this collection. And so let me pull up the website as well.
Right.
You take over for a while.
Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to get everyone for the old link to the new link. It's
Okay.
quite a mess, but okay, meanwhile, I'll pull up the website, okay? So we're going to, well, the website is actually in the link of the I guess because this is the new one. Let me send the website to the chat, okay? Right. Yeah. So messy. Dude, like this is why people don't like streaming on YouTube. It's such a pain. Like, for the chat, can you guys hear my friend? I feel like I don't know why it's only showing me on this stream. I guess because I'm the only one with the video on now. Yeah. But anyway, I'm just gonna
Okay, let me turn my video on, but it might stop if my connection goes bad.
Okay, okay. Right. So
So
we're
yeah,
going to we're going to
yeah,
the
like
Jacqueline, yes.
yes, I was gonna say that because it's like the most famous volume of Chinese poetry, so I have a copy at home that I've
Oh
had since I
wow.
was a child, and you can tell because there's a
Wow.
sticker there. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. It's like
Yeah,
I wish I was so
and
cultured.
it has fun illustrations,
Mm-hmm.
extremely high culture. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm sharing the poems with you all now. I hope you can see. I really can't see the chat or anything, man. I'm so.
Wait,
But
let
anyway, yeah.
me see if I can open the chat.
Okay, but yeah, we're gonna not start from the start of the 300 Tang poems. We're gonna start with this. So it's divided by genre, right, or like type of poem, and we're gonna start with this 5-character regular verse or 五言律诗. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So can we go to like the contents page?
Oh,
So
the contents page. Okay.
yeah, so if you take a look at the contents from point 1 to point 4 would be what were called old style poetry. So and this was in opposition to recent style poetry, which would be from point 4 to point 5 to point 8. So today we'll mostly be focusing on recent style poetry. Yeah, and the reason for this is because when we think about Tang poetry and like the sound of it comes to mind, the sound that comes to mind is the sound of recent style poetry. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you want to show anything, or should I go to the okay, regular verse? Yeah, so let's see how much we can go through today. Like no pressure lah. We'll take our time. I rather like we do it properly than like rush through it, right? Yeah. And I guess the format, Jacqueline, what are you thinking of? Is like I guess we'll read through the thing out loud and then maybe the English as well, or just the Chinese.
I think both. Yeah,
Okay.
both will be good.
Okay. And yeah, if we just mouse over, there are some all the pinyin is here if you need anything. But your Chinese so much better than mine. I'm sure you're much better at it than me. You should read the Chinese. I'll let you do it.
Okay, let me find the website.
Can you just look at the share screen? Or
I'm not sure I can do it without the pinyin, to be very frank. Okay, so
okay.
it's 唐玄宗经周鲁继孔子而叹之，夫子何为者？戚戚一代中，地有邹氏邑，宅及卢王宫。叹凤皆生否？伤林怨道穷。今看两银尊，当信孟师同。
哇，当信啊，当语。
当鱼 I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, this is very complicated. I don't think I would understand without the English. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'll
I
do the.
feel
Should I speak
like
the English or?
the 五言绝句 might be easier because this is quite lengthy to begin with, don't you think?
Oh wait, did I click the wrong thing?
This is the 律诗.
Oh my God, sorry, I'm so dumb. Okay, is it this? Is it this one? Yeah.
Behind,
Okay.
yeah, this would be
Sorry. No
simpler.
wonder
Yeah,
I thought like this is so long. Like why?
it is very long.
Okay. Oh, this is my favorite. One of my favorite poems. We can do
Okay,
this
you
then.
can go ahead.
Okay. And sorry for messing it up. We're really still figuring it out. Yeah. Okay, so this one, right, is by Wang Wei, very famous like Buddhist poet. So this has very strong Buddhist themes, which is my jam. So I really like this. So this Lu Chai, or Deer Park Hermitage. So 空山不见人，但闻人语响，返景入深林，复照青苔上。Yeah, I think the pinyin here is a bit weird. Shouldn't it be? Oh yeah, second should be 台上, right? It's that second tone. Yeah.
Mm.
And I guess I'll read the English. So there seems to be no one on the empty mountain, and yet I think I hear a voice, where sunlight entering a grove shines back to me from the green moss. Yeah. Very, very Buddhist, just reading it. I'm not sure if anyone else gets the vibe. Jacqueline, you got any thoughts first? Or you wanted to talk about the meter first, right?
Yeah, so do you want to talk about the meter?
I don't know much. Yeah.
Okay, so firstly, in Chinese poetry, there are two kind of important concepts to understand, which is that there is one type of sound called a level sound and one type of sound called an oblique sound. So a level sound would be any Chinese word with tones 1 and 2, and any oblique sound would be any Chinese word with tones 3 and 4 in modern Mandarin. So for this particular genre of poetry, you can see that there are 4 lines of 5 words each. So in every one of the 20 positions, there is a specific sound that has to be matched to the particular position. So if you look at, so if you generate the pinyin version for Lu Zhai, you can see that, so for this particular poem, the first sound that Wang Wei starts with is an oblique sound. And the second one is a level sound, because it's the 4th tone followed by the 1st tone. And this would be kind of already determined based on the genre of the poem, which means that each one of these 20 words, it's already, the moment he writes the first word, which is an oblique sound, it's already determined what all the other sounds will be, which means that recent style poetry was an incredibly limiting form to work with, because it cuts the potential words that you could use into half, essentially. So for instance, for Kong is actually a level sound, because here it would be pronounced Kong and not Kong. So we could sort of imagine Wang Wei had maybe other words that he could have chosen, like I'm blanking at the moment, but there might be synonyms for the word Kong that might have had an oblique sound instead. And then, so that's why he, amongst other reasons, wouldn't have been able to use those other words in this poem. So the meter limits the word choices that he could make. And that is like the defining sound of recent style poetry. That's why when you recite poems like this one, there's like a, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Should I go find the pattern on Baidu?
Yes.
Okay. And if I'm not wrong, oh, so someone in the comments pointed out like the ping, the flat is ping and then oblique is 仄. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think some of them you could choose both, right? Or are they all fixed?
So I think that for recent style poetry, they are all fixed. But in later periods, when the line lengths could vary, then some positions would be neutral. So you could use either.
I see. Oh yeah, in this you can see the four types, they're all fixed, right? So
Yeah.
this is ping, this is flat, right? Flat or
level.
level. And then this other one is 仄, which is like oblique, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess because this one is 空, it should be one of the last two.
Ping, yes.
空山不见人. Is it this one? 不见人? Either third or fourth.
It's the
right?
third one. So the fourth one has an extra rhyming word added into the first line, which is
Third
not.
one.
Yeah. The 不入韵. Yeah, the third one doesn't have the extra rhyming word in the first line. Yes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And also one more thing about the tones. If I understand correctly, the ping is like because Middle Chinese they have four tones, right? So it's like ping, ping shang, chu ru. And then so the ping is the first tone, and then the flat one is the first tone, and then the oblique ones are the next three tones, right? And then so in modern Chinese, I guess the ping for the Middle Chinese ones mostly became first and second tone in Mandarin, right? But then it is not a perfect matching, so sometimes there are things that don't seem to really match, but it apparently worked back in the day. Yeah, okay. All right, then should we talk about this poem? Enough of the
Yes.
the
Do you want to read the
technicality.
translation?
I guess I'm pretty okay with this translation here. I think what strikes me the most, right, is that the first character is like kong, right? Emptiness, which is a very like fundamental Buddhist concept, or especially for the Mahayana Buddhists, right? So there's like the Da Cheng, if you guys know. And the sort of idea is that like or is that all things are empty in the sense that they don't have what is called like a self-nature. So self-nature is a kind of essence, a sort of essence that is like permanent and uncaused by other things. And because everything is transient, everything changes, and everything is caused by other things, right? That's why the Buddhists would say that all things are empty. And so the metaphor of emptiness is that they don't have some sort of like substantial core in the middle, right? But at the same time, they don't mean to say that there is nothing in the world, because obviously there are a lot of things in the world, right? But it's meant to be a kind of a way of looking at the world where you see what is there, but you almost don't take it too seriously. Yeah, you can say it like that. Yeah, so I think it's interesting that they really started, with like this most fundamental concept, right? It's just emptiness. So the Kongshan is like the empty mountain, and you don't see 不见人, right? You don't see anyone, and which seems to also hint towards this idea that we don't have these essential identities, right? The sense of hollowness, I guess, or blank, maybe not blankness, but hollowness, yeah. But then even though there's no people, you hear their voices. The xiang here is sort of like, I read it as like echoing. So, but I hear the people's voices echoing almost in the mountains, right? And I think that sense of hollowness really comes through with this image of the echo. And so yeah, I think that captures it very well. And this 返景入深林, I guess 步照青苔上, 青苔上.
Tai is moss, yes. So 返景actually refers to afterglow. So after the sun sets, when the sun is no longer present, when the sun can no longer be seen, its sunlight is reflected against the particles in our atmosphere. So it creates this additional light that is not supposed to be there. So that is what 返景 means. And for 复照, it means shines back on, right? So I think throughout this entire poem, there's this feeling of things happening very indirectly. Like you don't hear people speak, you hear the sound of them speaking. You don't see sunlight, you see the reflection of sunlight through particles in the atmosphere. And the light doesn't shine on green moss, it comes back and shines on the green moss. So there's this very roundaboutness that creates this sense of like Zen that Wang Wei is very known for.
This sense of Zen, you said?
Yeah, like it's very peaceful because nothing is happening directly. It's kind of being caused in a very indirect and roundabout manner.
Right. Also, I guess I just noticed this, but the second half, there's really this sense of like the spreading of the light, right? Like it's like it almost feels like very sacred, very holy. There's this image of like light filling in the like spreading out through the world, I think. Yeah, very
Sounds
nice.
like something you'd be into.
Light spreading. Sounds like some exercise, yeah, like light stretching. Should we do the next one or anything else? Okay. Oh, there's even a illustration.
Yeah, there's a little picture.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Okay, this one. Oh, it's by Wang Wei again. I only know he's very Buddhist, so I wonder if this is a Buddhist poem also.
We shall find out.
Okay. Should I read or you read?
Can read it. Go ahead.
Okay. So in a retreat among bamboo, 竹里馆. So 独坐幽篁里，弹琴复长啸，深林人不知，明月来相照。Wow. So leaning alone in the closed bamboos, I'm playing my lute and humming a song, too softly for anyone to hear, except my comrade, the bright moon. Wow. I guess one thing feels weird to me, the xiao, it doesn't feel like I don't know, it feels almost bigger than with humming. I'm not sure what Jacqueline, what do you think? Do you think? Oh, okay. I think someone's talking to her, but yeah. At least nowadays, when you say like xiao, it's like 海啸, right? It's like a tsunami. So I sort of wonder if it's more than just a humming, but the notes here says that it's more like a whistle, I guess. So yeah. And I guess what is this poem trying to say? It's really trying to convey that state of aloneness, but also without the sense of loneliness, right? I think a lot of Chinese poems, they have this, they try to capture a sense of solitude, but almost like contentment among solitude. And there's almost this trope of like, this guy who like retreats from the mess of the world and just retreats into the wilderness and lives a very like peaceful life with nature. I think this is sort of trying to channel that. And yeah, usually these men who retreat are portrayed as very like cultured, right? And they have the very classic, very scholarly instrument of the lute here, the qing. And the comrade, the bright moon. I find the comrade word of kind of a strange translation because I don't really see it in the original Mandarin lah. Right? It's like the radiant moon comes to mutually illuminate. That's the more literal translation now. So, Jacqueline, what are your thoughts?
The subtext is that the moon is a companion in place of a person, right? I don't know. I feel like it did become kind of a trope, like when Li Bai said, what, under the moonlight, there are three of us, there are three people, and that is Li Bai, his shadow, and the moon. I guess it became this kind of refined image for like a sophisticated solitude.
I see. Does Li Bai predate Wang Wei or?
No. I don't think so.
Okay. I guess this image has like some stock for a while lah, even before. Should we keep talking about this or on next one?
I think we can move on.
Okay. Okay, it's our boy again. You want to read?
All right. 送别 a parting. 山中相送罢，日暮掩柴扉。春草明年绿，王孙归不归？ Well, that's lovely.
Wow. Can you read the English?
All right. Do you want to read?
Okay. So, friend, I have watched you down the mountain. Till now in the dark, I close my thatch door. Grasses return again, green in the spring. But oh, my prince of friends, do you? Wow. Wow, that's really good. Yeah. Is Wang Sun like the person's name, his friend's name, or?
Wang Sun is a general term for like a nobleman. It used to mean nobleman, and then it was extended to become a word to refer to like a friend or someone that you consider like esteemed.
I see. Wow.
Wow.
What are your thoughts are? I'm just very moved there. Like, wow.
I'm also
It's
very
so beautiful.
moved.
Wow. I guess it is quite a recurrent theme of like in these poems where you send a friend off, right? Because as I assume most of these authors are like the educated scholar officials, and part of that role is that you get sent to a lot of random places, not random, but you get sent to a lot of places and you'll be far away from your friends. And I think there is this whole genre of like parting poems. And because the role of poetry in that time, like correct me if I'm wrong, but it's mostly to like a lot of it is to express yourself, but also to mark a big occasion, right? And usually this sort of parting, I guess it's like all your friends, like all your boys come together and then they'll like write poems for you and then they'll send you off. So yeah.
It's very wholesome. I think
Yeah.
me, what jumps out is the sense of like, we can be sure what the natural world will look like in a year, but we do not know whether the people around us will come back to us. So the cycles of nature are recurring, but the movements of people are not. Yeah.
What do you think of this second?
Oh, I was gonna say I feel very moved.
Yeah. I'm having trouble understanding this second line though, because I guess okay, the first two lines are setting the scene of sending the friend off, and now the author goes back home, right? And then is that's sort of when so is that why then that launches him into the thought of like, oh, grasses return, but then will my friend return? It almost feels like one of those Wordsworth poems is like he go out for a walk and then he goes home and then he thinks about the clouds, like that kind of vibe. Yeah.
I'm kind of picturing maybe they gathered to have a farewell party, and then the party ends right when the sun sets. So that is why at dusk, precisely, that's when he returns home. And then in the dark, he has this contemplative moment by himself. Yeah.
Is there any particular significance to using this chai fei? Like why?
I think I would assume it's to emphasize the humbleness of his house. Because if he were living in reclusion at this point, then part of that would have been very simple accommodations. So it wouldn't have been like a big fancy door. It would be made of firewood, as he's suggesting here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the cottage core vibes in a way.
I feel like that adds to the poem for me. It's almost like it's like he doesn't have all these worldly things, but he has his friendships, right? And then now even his friend is gone. It's like all I have is this like stupid thatch door. Like
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant image.
Yeah. I feel like this guy's actually pretty rich though, this Wang Wei guy. Do you think so?
I feel like I read his Wikipedia at one point, and he did manage to buy like a big property somewhere.
I see. So there's more like feigned poverty for poetic effect.
I mean, we never see him farming, so he must be doing pretty well. Like, if he can afford not to farm for himself.
That's true. Oh, let me just look at the comments a bit. Yeah. So one of the commenters said like his favorite poem is山居秋暝. I think it's Mei. Oh, 山居秋暝. Wait, is part of this collection or is it part of the 五言绝句 or?
Let me see. I don't think I saw it here.
Okay. But if we have time, we can do it at the end. Yeah. If it's not in this part. Yeah. I really like this Wang Wei guy. Like,
I know you really like
my
him.
vibes. But you do or you don't?
I know.
Yeah.
The next one is my favorite Wang Wei.
Okay. Should we go there then?
I'm excited.
Then you should read this.
All right. 相思 one-hearted. 红豆生南国，春来发几枝。愿君多采撷，此物最相思。
Isn't it usually 红豆生南人? Is this a variant or am I just misremembering?
I'm not sure. Let me check. I've always read it as 南国, I believe.
Okay, I trust you. My cultural capital not very high.
It's also possible that there was some scribal error. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, bro, like you do Chinese studies, like, wow, every class you talk about scribal errors, like.
Wait, which yuan did you think it was?
I don't know, like 工人的人.
Okay, let's find out.
It's very
think
possible
you misread it.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's like I always misremember. Like sometimes I will try to cite some like Confucius quote in class. Then turns out it didn't exist, but I just dreamt it up. And I'm like, wow, very, very stressful.
Very impressive that you're rewriting Confucius.
Yeah, I cited this wrong this wrong 墨子 quote recently. And I was like, oh, need to reread. Yeah.
There goes your class part.
Do you want to read the English also?
Yeah. So when those red berries come in springtime, blushing on your southland branches, take home and unfold for my sake as a symbol of our love. So the reason, the explanation for this poem is that red berries is it's like this tea that comes in a pot that's red, and because they always come together in a pot, so that's why they symbolize like coming together or missing somebody. That's why he says that 食物最相思, like this item is one that is most reminiscent of longing. Does that make sense? Because the berries always come in a bunch, like together.
Okay. Oh. Sorry, I just got a bit distracted because the English line order is different from the Chinese one. Or the
Oh,
Zhongnan
right.
Guo, they moved it to the second line. So oh, why do you like this poem? Yeah.
I just think it's very simple.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, very simple and effective.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and so Wang Wei has this reputation as like the Zen Buddhist poet, right? And
Mm,
like that impression is actually partly created by the 唐诗三百首 because in the 唐诗三百首 there are a lot of those types of poems that are collected inside. So when it became like regular teaching material, it like strengthens this perception that like these are the only kinds of poems that Wang Wei writes. But actually his range was very wide. Like he wrote about going on the battlefield and about like jilted lovers and all of that as well. Yeah.
mm,
But you can see how his like nature, mountain, meditation poems are very appealing.
mm. Right. What do you think of this English translation of the title? Because or I don't think they're really capturing the sense of like 相思 in any of the translations here.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
bit
because
loose.
相思is like mutual longing, right? Or like we're thinking of each other, right? So it doesn't work with one-hearted at all. Or whereas this love here is also a bit missing the crucial, the essence, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess even though the title is like mutual longing, in the whole poem, you can only be sure that the speaker is longing for the person he's talking to. Like you can't be sure that the lover is reciprocating. He's like almost asking for affection back because he's asking the other person to think about him by going to pick these berries.
I see. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's not just a symbol, it's meant to like it's almost meant to prompt the other person to love him
Yeah,
back, right?
yeah.
Wow, that's very beautiful. Yeah. This is why you give people flowers, right? They're like, oh, like, oh, it's
Yeah.
eye-catching, and then you're like, oh, is that guy?
But flowers don't last as long as the hongdou
Oh, really? Really?
because flowers will
Oh.
wilt, but the dou will be there for a very long time.
Mm. Is this the same Hongdou that we eat?
No, I don't think so. So if you Google it,
Uh,
you can find pictures. Um,
oh, okay.
yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can find one. If I send it to you, then you can screen it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on.
Okay. Oh, send me on Telegram. Okay, let me just.
Should I send it on Zoom?
Oh, yeah. That's better. Yeah.
Can I set? Okay, wait.
Yeah.
They kind of remind me of Atachi.
Oh, then we also need to explain what's that. 红豆生南国. Okay.
Yeah.
红豆树. Oh, it's very red. It's very red.
Yeah. You know how they say that even though we imagine the ancients as like very restrained and solemn in their use of color, actually they really love like gaudy, bright colors.
Oh, like the Tang poets or
Like in
Chinese poets in
general,
general?
in the past, when it was harder to produce like bright colors, like bright pigments.
Mm,
So
mm.
these like colors that we would feel are garish today were like highly desirable. So that's what I think of when that's what I thought about when you said that the Hongdou
I
is very
see.
red.
Yeah. Oh, this like high level literary analysis. Wow, this Hongdou is very red. Red berries are very red. Yeah. Wow. Should we go to the next one?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, I really like this. I can see why it's so famous.
It's good, right?
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Wow.
This is famous also.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
should I read?
杂
Or you read?
诗 Yeah.
Yeah.
杂
Go on.
诗君自故乡来，应知故乡事。来日绮窗前，寒梅著花未。You who have come from my old country, tell me what has happened there. Was the plum when you passed my silken window, opening its first cold blossom? Thoughts?
Sorry, a bit like, but good poem.
So I feel like
I
the
think I've heard
story
of
that
this.
he's
Mhm.
huh?
Oh no, go
Wait.
on.
Okay, I feel like the story he's trying to tell here is like so the speaker probably left his hometown, right? And then someone from there was just passing by the city that he's now at, and then he's like dying to know what's going on with his like childhood lover. But instead of asking like how is she, he asks how are the flowers by her window doing. Like that's the idea that's like happening here. So yeah, so instead of asking the questions that he really wants to ask, he asks something that looks trivial instead. Yeah, to show like the feelings of trepidation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. I read a similar analysis where it's like there's so much he wants to know that it's like he'll just break down if he asks all the things. So he needs to ask this very like trivial thing almost to like just to stay composed, right?
Your
Yeah.
analysis is less vapid than mine because mine went to romance immediately.
It was from that edX that Coursera one by the Taiwan University prof. The one who did the Hong Lo Meng one. So I just copied her analysis.
Oh, I see. Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
The way she quotes Hong Lo Meng, like it's nothing. Like you could ask about any line and she'll know what it is. Her brain.
That's you in 20 years.
Maybe 40.
For context, Hong Lo Meng is Jacqueline's favorite novel. Correct, right?
Yeah.
Is your favorite, right? Yeah.
Yes, it's my favorite.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I remember the first time reading this 来日 was confusing because nowadays when we say 来日, it usually means like in the future. But here he means a day that was in the past.
So it's like 已经来的日啦. So like the day that has already come, right?
Yeah.
I see. That's interesting. Do you think there's any specific like because we talk about the idea of like trying to focus on something trivial so you don't get overwhelmed, right? Do you think there's a reason why he chose this image of like and the plum at the window opening its first cold blossom. Like why that specifically? Yeah.
I think that you could always read into the plum, right? Because it's supposed to be one of the four gentlemanly flowers, and it's supposed to stand for like resilience and in the face of hardship. But I don't know but I'm not sure whether that's what he's intending to do here. I'm not sure. What do you think?
I don't know. I guess this Han Mei, right? It's almost like, I wonder if he's almost describing himself as like this lone flower in the frost or something. Or it feels very.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
But I don't know enough flower symbolism to say. I'm a 外行人, you know. I'm outside the profession. Yeah.
Outside the profession. So the reason why plum is supposed to stand for the resilient gentleman is because so the plum is a spring flower, I understand, but it blooms in early spring when before it stops snowing. So even though it's a spring flower, it blossoms also during the last days of winter when like supposedly the weather is supposed to be too harsh for flowers to survive. And also when you see the first plum blossoms show up in winter, it's also a sign that spring is coming.
So do you think that means that this visitor is like the coming spring, where he is like the plum that has like, you know, shaken the cold loneliness of his life?
Then I will want him to speak more about this visitor.
That's true.
There's no other information.
Or maybe it's not about the visitor himself, right? It is the fact that all that's important is that he came from that old village, right? Do you think so?
Or maybe the temporary coming of the visitor from his hometown is like a temporary alleviation of his loneliness.
Right. Yeah. Wow, very beautiful.
Yeah. Is he still your favorite?
This author. Let's see. We only read this one guy so far.
I feel like just given Lu Zhai, Wang Wei will already be your favorite.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my impression, yes.
Yeah. But you like Li Bai so much, right? I'm sure he's good also. Hey, you want to plug your poetry newsletter?
Yes, please follow my poetry Substack at libai.substack.com.
Let me write it out. libai.substack.com. I'll put it in the chat.
Yes, I am officially claiming Li Bai's name.
And for those who don't know, Li Bai is like the most famous Chinese poet. Pretty much, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Him and Wang Wei are pretty, Wang Wei and Du Fu are pretty like on equal standing. Yeah, and it's actually also has to do with the Tang 300 show and like collections like these that like because they've been canonized in these collections, so that's why they become even more prominent. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, and we were saying like maybe next time we'll do like we'll read through all of Li Bai's poems or something. But we need a good edition now. I only found the bilingual edition for Wang Wei and Du Fu, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then if you do
Worst
Li
case, we just
Bai,
do
I
the
could
Chinese one now.
read, and then you can translate on the spot?
I don't think I can translate on the spot there. Like, even now, this is pretty tough. You give me this poem, I don't know what it means. Like, the final line, at least. Yeah.
Okay. Thank goodness for translators.
Yeah. Should we do the next one?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you think it's still Wang Wei?
Oh,
it's
no,
not.
is this Pei Di?
Pei Di.
Oh, Pei Di.
Mm.
Oh, it's another farewell poem.
You love that. So Pei Di was actually Wang Wei's friend. And the Cui Jiu in the title is also Wang Wei's friend. So I think the three of them were living in the same area.
I see.
Circle. Yeah.
Who's reading?
You want to read?
Okay, let me look at the words I don't know first. Okay, so 送崔九, a farewell to Cui. 归山深浅去，须尽秋壑美。莫学武陵人，暂游桃源里。So, though you think to return to this maze of mountains, oh, let them brim your heart with wonder. Remember the fisherman from Wuling, who had only a day in the peach blossom country. Is this a reference to Taoyuan Ming?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait,
okay,
did Taoyuan Ming write the
桃花源记, right?
桃花源记, it's him, right?
Yeah. If it's not him, I was thinking of 桃花源记 lah. I'm not sure who wrote it.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me check. Yeah. Can you explain the okay. Can you explain the story?
So let me recollect it for a moment. So the peach blossom country that the translation talks about is this work of Chinese prose about this fisherman who accidentally finds himself in a place with a lot of peach blossoms, and this place is it's hidden in this it was very difficult for him to get to, so it shows that this place was very isolated from the rest of the world, and the people in this peach blossom country live in essentially a utopia. So then this fisherman stays there for a day, and then he says, wait, I gotta go back. So he leaves. And then when he tries to get back into this utopia again, he realizes that he can't find it. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm trying to figure out what the reference is doing here. Like, so is their friendship the utopia, or?
Oh, yeah, I like that. My thought was that I think that what is happening, at least on the surface, is that Cui Jiu is going into reclusion. So he's gonna pass through this maze of mountains and through the valleys and the gullies. And then Pei Di says, don't be like the fisherman from Wuling. You should stay in reclusion for longer and not leave. Because the point of the fisherman is that he left the utopia and he couldn't find it anymore. So I think he's urging his friend to not come easily out of reclusion, I believe.
I see. Wow. But isn't it kind of weird? It's like, don't come back. I guess he wants what's good for his friend lah. Yeah.
I wonder what was happening at that time. Like, why were they so against being out in the world?
Right. Is this some like political turmoil or something.
It always is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What do you think of 归山深浅去? What do the 深 and 浅 refer to?
I have no idea. Or I guess the English is the maze of mountains. So it's the 深浅, like the depths of the valleys and stuff. So it's very varied.
So he's gonna be hidden behind tall and low mountains?
Maybe. I'm not sure what it means. Yeah. But do you think this idea of depth also is like this Wu Ling guy, he went, but it was a very like brief thing. So it's like almost like a shallow leaving. And so he wants you to do a deep excursion. Oh. Yeah, I couldn't figure this out also, this 深浅 thing. Like,
yeah. The 秋暝 kind of makes sense.
虚见
秋暝美.
Oh, do you want to talk about parallelism also in Chinese poetry?
Right. I think we should.
Yeah.
Do you wanna?
I'm not very good, but I can try.
Okay, go for it.
I guess maybe one thing to know about the classical Chinese language is that it is very, there are many ways to read it all. Like, so one big challenge of learning to read classical Chinese is like, it's more than just reading the characters, right? Like sometimes the trick is really knowing how to parse the line to see, like, because sometimes the same word can be a verb or a noun. So you really need to learn how to parse it properly. And one way that authors can actually show what it's supposed to mean, right, is through this device of like parallelism, where you have like two lines of like the same number of characters, and usually the let's say like the third or fourth character, right, like if you have this pair of lines, then the third or fourth character, they might be the same type of word, or they have the similar idea in both. So it's almost this idea of like it's just this sense of like parallelism to not just to help you understand what exactly it's saying, but also to almost like the contrast might make you challenge the literal meaning of it. Yeah. I guess I think there's a lot to be said about this associative mode of thinking that maybe started from like the Shi Jing, right? The very first like the book of odes, the classic of odes, the first poetry collection. But I guess, or at least here, what do you think? Anything I missed out? Or
I think it's great. Yeah. But
I guess here
the parallelism here isn't perfect though, right? Because 深浅 and 秋暝, they're still a bit, as in they're read together, but they're not quite the same type of word. Maybe that's what makes it a bit hard to pass this poem as well. Because when it's perfectly parallel, then you have clues on how to read the sentence.
Right. So 深 is deep, and then 浅 is shallow. So there is a polarity here. And then the chiu is a mound, so it's rising, right? And then the he is, I guess the gully is like descending. So there's also a polarity here. But I guess between the two lines, you were saying the relation is unclear, right? Because I don't see how a mound can be deep. It doesn't really make sense, right? Yeah. Where it makes sense that the gully can be shallow. Yeah. I guess there's also parallelism, the Wu Ling, the place. And this other like Taoyuan, the peach blossom country, also a place. But it seems like maybe the relation is one of like this analogy of like contrast, because it's like there's the Wuling. Wuling is meant to contrast against Taoyuan, but even then it's not a clean contrast between Shenqian and Qiuhe, right?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically I just repeated what you said, but like 3 times the words. Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
Shenqian thing
yeah.
is bothering me.
Uh,
I want to know what's going
mm,
on.
yeah.
Let me see if I can find it on a Chinese
So strange.
website.
Okay.
Should we move on in the meantime?
Okay. Right. Okay. Okay, well, like, I think I'm only gonna do this for like another hour. So let's see how much we can get through. Okay. I guess I can read this while you're searching.
Yes.
So this is by Yong. So it's on seeing the snow peak of Zhongnan. So 终南望余雪, that's the title. So 终南因林秀，积雪浮云端，林表what's this? 明其色，林表明霁色，城中增暮寒. So see how Zhongnan Mountain soars with its white top over floating clouds, and a warm sky opening at the snow line, while the town in the valley grows colder and colder.
Hmm.
Huh, what's it trying to say? Or is it really just like, oh, this mountain is cool? Like,
I'm wondering where the city is coming from, where the town is coming from.
mm, mm,
Oh, so he so is he on
mm,
Zhongnan and looking away, or is he somewhere else and looking at Zhongnan?
that's true. I don't know.
I feel like he is on Zhongnan
I see.
because in the title it says 终南望余雪. If he were looking at Zhongnan, Zhongnan would be in a different place in a sentence, right?
Right. It'd be like 望中南雨雪, right?
Right.
Yeah. At first, I was tempted to say he's in the town because that's how he knows it gets colder. But I feel like your reading makes sense also.
So
Yeah.
if he is on the mountain and he's looking at a town far away,
Mm.
I'm still trying to process this.
Mm. I don't suppose the chat has any ideas. I'm very, very puzzled by this. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Mm.
so is it because he is on this mountain and it's very cold and there's snow all around him that it's changing his perspective, changing his perception of what the town is like? So that's why the town seems to grow colder. It's because the vantage point that he has is cold. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Oh,
Hmm.
I see.
So
But I guess this is growing colder. 曾木寒. It's because the sun is setting, right?
Yeah.
Huh. So then that's sort of interesting.
And what does 林表明记色 mean? 林表is tree branches, right?
Oh, I guess
Something
so.
about trees.
Uh-huh.
So 季 is the sky after it stops raining or snowing.
Oh, is it? I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the tips of the branches have been freed of snow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, that's why the translation says a warm sky opening at the snow line.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I guess he's just describing it very well. I don't see any
Yeah.
deeper meaning.
Yeah. He described it
Yeah.
too well.
Yeah. It's like the use of 记 here is like it's not a normal choice, or like you gotta be very good to come up with it, I guess.
Yeah. That's why he's in this anthology.
Okay.
I
Nice
do
mountain,
find it
yeah.
quite I find it quite cool that he says 积雪浮云端. So it's like the accumulated snow on the mountain is so immense that it's reaching the clouds in the sky.
I see.
Yeah.
And because the snow looks like the clouds, right? It's almost like they're
Yeah.
blurring together.
And it's because of the feeling that the mountain is so tall that it's close to the sky as well.
I see.
Yeah.
We just say this is like almost an upward motion. So like the 积雪浮云端 is like the snow's going up. I presume the town is below, right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
So we just say the first two lines is almost like looking upward, and then the second two lines are like looking downwards. If we assume the ling is lower lah.
I think that makes sense.
Interesting. Oh, but there's also the 季色. They're looking at the sky as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, I see maybe like the sky and the ground becoming indistinct as one because they're like growing into each other. So
right.
I feel it's a very ethereal image.
I see.
Yeah, he's not telling us where the town is or where the branches are.
I see. What's this yin here? Like in the shade? So, or like cloudy, okay. So that's why the yin connects to the yun later lah, is it?
I think so.
And it's like the yin ling is connected to the fu yun. So like I guess the overcast peak and the floating cloud. Okay.
Oh wait, hang on. Yinling is a word. It means the side of the mountain that faces away from the sun.
Oh, that's true. That's the original meaning of yin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this poem is quoted in the dictionary entry for Yinling.
I see. Okay.
So, 终南阴岭秀. So he's standing on the side of the mountain that's not getting any sun.
Okay.
I feel like he's doing I think what's his name? Yong is doing a lot here, but I'm not picking it up.
Yeah. I think we need to read this with the Chinese notes next time, because the English
Yeah.
here is not very expressive, I think.
Yeah, it's not very helpful.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Mm.
I'm trying to open a Chinese website, but it's not loading.
Okay.
I'm using on phone. This
Okay.
was 终南望余雪.
Okay. Hmm.
So the Chinese translation is 终南山的北面山色秀美，山上的积雪好像与天上的白云相连。雨雪后出晴的阳光照耀着树林表面，城中也增加了一丝寒意。
So it's basically the same as what
Yeah,
it says in
yeah.
English. Okay.
Um,
Huh.
uh,
Huh. I guess it's just a very nice mountain.
yeah. It's a great mountain.
Yeah, next time I'll visit this Zhongnan Shan. Yeah.
Where do you think it is?
In the Nan, in the south. I don't know.
It's actually in Shanxi.
Oh, where is that?
It's
The west?
solidly in the north.
Ah, okay. Huh. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe we just don't have the same brain as him.
I don't know. I'm not really so inspired when I look at mountains.
But you
I really
liked
need to
Wang
be on
Wei's
the mountain.
mountain.
True. Yeah. Maybe this guy's just not very good. I don't know.
Yeah. He doesn't deserve to be here.
No, I'm sure we're missing something.
Yeah, it's our fault.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next one.
Mm.
Yeah, we spent so long on this freaking mountain poem. It's like, wow. Oh, another famous guy. Okay.
宿建德江, a night mooring on the Jiande River. 移舟泊烟堵, 移舟泊烟渚, 日暮客愁新. 野旷天低树, 江清月近人. While my little boat moves on its mooring of mist, and daylight wanes, old memories begin. How wide the world was, how close the trees to heaven, and how clear in the water the nearest of the moon. It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Again, we have a description of something on the ground being close to the sky.
Right. It feels like this is conveying some emotional state. Do you think so?
Yeah, because he tells you that it's a 客愁, the
Ah.
wanderer's sorrow.
Oh, that's true. Didn't we read this in class?
We did.
Okay.
I think we
Because I
did.
remember the
Yeah.
天地树 was very interesting.
What were our interpretations of the trees that were close to heaven?
Right. I guess in the Chinese, it's almost like it's not the trees were tall, right? It's like the sky is like low, it's like drooping to the level of the trees.
Mm,
It almost feels like claustrophobic. That was my take. Yeah.
it's a bit oppressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and So in the second line, in English, it says, as daylight wanes, old memories begin. In Chinese, it's more like, as the sun sets, the wanderer's sorrows begin anew. So when daylight, when daylight is lost, the wanderer's misery gains.
Who's this Meng Haoran guy? Did he have some politics thing again?
Yeah, do you know 春眠不觉晓?
Yeah.
It's him.
What's his bio? Do you know roughly?
If I'm not wrong, he was a nepotism child. Hang on.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I think so. Like, was he? Oh wait, no, he wasn't. Sorry, I slandered him. So he was a 进士, which is an what's the English word for it?
It's like one who's presented, is it? Man of
the
talent who's
presented
presented.
scholar. Yeah, so it's
basically he did well for his he just did well on the exam lah, right? Is it the
yeah,
number
so,
one or the number two?
It didn't say, but
Okay.
so he passed the 进士, and then he was recommended by his good friend Wang Wei. And Emperor Xuanzong granted him an audience during which he recited his poetry. And then there was one line in it that angered the emperor. Thus, he was sent away from the palace. And then
Wait, the Emperor Xuanzong granted him what?
An audience. So he invited him to the palace to read his poetry. And then he held his position for less than a year.
Huh? Why?
It doesn't say. Probably, I don't know. Oh, he resigned. So maybe he was unhappy with the work he was doing. And then
I see.
Yeah. Thoughts on this poem?
I always thought the Tang. Oh, wait, let me go on a tangent first. I always thought because you all know, like China has this like imperial examination system, right? Where it's like you do it on the exam and then you become an official and you work in the government. But like different dynasties, they have different like curricula that's being tested. I think the Tang dynasty was very heavy on poetry, right? So I always thought it was very weird that like, as in obviously it produced a lot of great poets because all the social pressures are aligned. But also like, why don't you test something else? Like, so I always thought it was very strange. Yeah.
But it's not as if they test us on useful things in A levels.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Will you prefer like A levels, or the SAT is all like poetry composition?
Which
so
do you think
subjective.
will
I don't
be
know.
easier to study for?
Obviously not poetry composition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the idea like the flexibility in the mindset is like you don't just study, but it's like you gotta, I don't know, have a sensitive approach to life and like. Okay, anyway, that was a weird tangent, but yeah, the poem. Yeah. Oh. He is very vague, right? I remember in class we said like he's very vague about what exactly the 课愁 are, the we say the wandering worries, yeah.
Maybe you're supposed to infer. I don't know, like, would it be too much of a biographical reading if I say that because he resigned from his position, that he felt like he wasn't being properly used by the official system, and that's what the 课愁 is, the wanderer's sorrow.
I see. So I thought this one is like, I thought this poem sort of emphasized this sense of claustrophobia, right? Like we said, the 天低树, like the sky is like drooping, like almost touching the trees. And I also thought like the zhou is like yi, right? So the boat is like moving. So everything's very unstable and like claustrophobic. So to go with your reading, do you think it's almost like he is too great for this like narrow-minded court?
Oh,
Sorry?
the river is too small for him.
Yeah, he's big fish. Yeah, big fish, small pond.
Big
Yeah.
fish, small pond.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Or maybe he's like intentionally vague so that whoever reads it can project their own version of sorrow into it.
That's true. But it seems like the more I read this, the more like I physically feel dizzy. Yeah. Do you feel that?
I do.
Yeah.
And I feel like this one and the mountain one that we didn't get, both of them have this feeling of like blurriness, like I cannot see what's around me. Because in this one, he talks about the river being very misty and how the sky is like overbearingly near to me. I almost feel like I cannot see properly. And
I see.
in the mountain one, it's because like everything turned white. And I don't know, but I guess the mountain one seemed to be giving a different message. There wasn't like an explicit proclamation of sorrow or anything like that. Like it was just a description.
Right.
Yeah, but I find it very interesting when these poets kind of come and like when they describe something looking like something else, or when they describe something being obscured by something else, because it's almost like they're saying like, I'm here and looking at this, but I cannot tell you what it's really like. Because what I see is just confusion.
Somehow I felt for the mountain poem, it felt a lot more, and definitely more grounded for one. Also more like, it felt more like it was blurry, but a different kind of blurry, if that makes sense. It's like this one, this sort of blurry is like your own vision is like blurry, whereas the other one was like the scene is blurry. So it's almost external rather than internal.
Yeah, and I guess for that one, there wasn't a sense of where the speaker is placed. Like you don't know where on the mountain he is. Like whether he's above or below the trees, or whether he is his vantage point is above or below the town that he's looking at. But in this one, it's very clear that he is on the river and he is not anchored.
I see. So that one, I guess instead of calling it grounded, you can even call it like a omniscient sort of view, is it? It's almost like it's like floating,
Maybe.
but like very secure kind of floating.
Yeah,
Would you say?
maybe. There's this book called 18 Ways of Reading Wang Wei. So it's this person who wrote a book about 18 different translations of Lu Zhai.
Oh,
So
okay.
he lists these 18 translations and then he gives like little snide comments. And then one of them is this discussion about how in Lu Zhai, like you have no clear sense of a speaker. Like the C, because in general in classical Chinese poetry there are very few pronouns. So that's part of it. And also in Lu Zhai, there's almost this sense of like everything could be described without someone physically being there to experience it. So it makes the description feel like an out-of-body experience, like very disembodied, like omniscient, as you say.
But then if it's so common that there are no pronouns, then wouldn't everything be disembodied there? I guess not
But
here,
because
this is very
they're
clear.
not here, I guess it depends. Yeah, that's why it's not like a great argument, but I feel like you do feel it in Lu Zhai, don't you think? Especially
Yeah.
because he emphasizes that the mountain is empty. So if the mountain is empty, then what is he? Like
But he
he's
says
there, but he's
空
not
山不
there.
见人, right? So
Yeah.
I guess it could be 空, it could be empty apart from him. But I see what you mean. Yeah.
So it's very ambiguous. Like it could be that the mountain is empty because he cannot be seen, or it could be because the mountain could be empty because no one can be seen, or he cannot see anyone. Like it's very ambiguous what's going on.
I feel like the Buddhists would say that the mountain is empty because the author, the person, is also empty.
Oh,
So it could be full of people, but it's still empty in that way. Maybe.
oh, then what about this poem? Is this also empty?
He seems very attached to his worldly troubles.
Oh, I see. So it's because Wang Wei, the author, has detached himself that he can portray emptiness.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So you're criticizing Meng Haoran for being too attached to.
I'm criticizing him for giving me a headache. But it's a good poem, for sure.
Yeah,
Very
I
good.
enjoy it. So the second two lines, the 野旷天地树，江清月近人, was actually like Du Fu actually responded to these two lines in one of his poems. So he uses, I think, like parallelism to describe kind of the same thing. Like if you read that poem, you can tell that it's very similar to this one, and it's because they were friends. So because this was one of Meng Haoran's most like famous poems, so there is this poem that Du Fu wrote after this one where he is also sailing in a river on a boat, where he also has two lines that kind of talk about the same thing. So in Du Fu's poem, he says, I'm blanking. Something like the stars are very close to the river.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Does
see.
this ring a bell? I feel like we might have read it in class.
I don't remember. Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I find it really cool that they were writing and responding to each other. So it wasn't only writing poems as gifts to each other, but also like incorporating parts of each other's works into their own. It's very neat.
Yeah. Well, I wish I read more poetry. It's a very deep.
This is a start.
Yeah. Well, let me read a comment from the chat. Someone said like, oh, I never understand poems easily, not even in their own language. But somehow they are challenging themselves to try to understand these Tang poems with us. Yeah, honestly, I don't understand English poems. It's a bit.
Me neither.
It's like it just doesn't hit me the same way. Yeah.
I feel like there's something wrong with my reading comprehension. Okay,
Really?
so 杜甫's version goes 星垂平野阔，月涌大江流. So the stars are straggling and the plains are expansive. Moonlight the moonlight shimmers and the great river flows.
Okay.
So it has all of the same elements, the jiang and the yue. Yeah. And then the first one is a bit changed. But yeah.
I see. Interesting. I guess a lot of them do use the same like images, right? But interesting. Yeah, I wonder if we'll see more as we read on. Should be pretty fun. Yeah. Okay, so should we go to the next one?
Yes.
Okay, I feel like we could do at least 2 or 3 more.
Okay.
I hope so. Okay, this is famous. Wait, this thing is weird. Okay. Should I read this?
Yeah.
Okay, Meng Haoran, A Spring Morning, 春晓. You were saying this just now, right? Yeah. 春眠不觉晓，处处闻啼鸟。夜来风雨声，花落知多少. This is literally the poem your Asian mom makes you memorize. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I awake lighthearted this morning of spring. Everywhere around me, the singing of birds. But now I remember the night, the storm, and I wonder how many blossoms were broken. Interesting.
I love that there's French down there.
Yeah. Hmm. 春眠不觉晓. This is a bit weird, right? It's like, you're sleeping. It should be like you're sleeping in the spring, and then you didn't notice that it's morning. Yeah, and then everywhere around me you hear the singing of birds. And in the night there comes the sound of wind and rain. I wonder how many flowers have fallen. Yeah. It's kind of a more creative translation now, the one here. Yeah. Okay, more creative is like the sound of the wind and rain. They're just like whoosh whoosh. But, what's the significance of this? I've heard this so much that like I cannot read it properly.
Yeah. I guess it's just I think it's partly the contrast between the image of spring, right? So it's vitality, and it's like the 大地回春, so the earth is rejuvenated, but then he contrasts it with the spring that also brings with it the spring wind, which also destroys the flowers. Yeah.
I see. Oh, that's very interesting. So it's about like growth and death and how they come together.
I think so. And
Yeah,
it's a celebration of spring, like without realizing it, spring has already come. But at the same time, there's this melancholy that there is still death. And
I see.
Yeah, like it reminds me of that scene in Inside Out where, do you remember her memories, the happy memories, like become half sad, and then that's like a new and like advanced, like elevated experience. That's what this reminds me of.
So it's sort of like, I think there's a more nuanced understanding of like spring or like change.
So, or he could be writing it just to entertain us. No,
That's
either
probably
way.
most of these poems are. Yeah.
Can you read French?
Not very well. I know oiseau is birds.
Oh,
Yeah, le chant de oiseau, des oiseaux. I don't know.
Sean is singing, is it?
I would think so, yeah. I mean, this one you can guess, right? Le murmure du vent et de la pluie.
I would like to see the
murmur,
English one
the wind
translated
and
as
the rain.
I
Huh?
would like to see the English one translated as the murmur of the of the wind and the rain.
Yeah, that would be nicer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I guess
it
here it's really
wouldn't.
just sheng.
Yeah, but it almost wouldn't be like violent enough for the flowers to fall.
That's true. I guess I didn't really notice this third line as very violent until you pointed it out.
Yeah, I think the overuse of this poem has diminished its power.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Because I guess if you can hear the wind, it has to be really loud. It has to be really strong.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
He's no longer ambiguous here.
Yeah. What do you think? Maybe just one more question is like, seems to be a theme of like not knowing, right? So the front is like, I don't know. I don't even know it's morning. And then at the end, it's like, I don't know. I wonder how many flowers have fallen. So does this work with the sense of like transition or liminality that you're talking about with spring, where it's like, because it's transitioning, I don't know which is which.
You're right. Yeah, I mean, he could have chosen to say, oh, numerous, like, an innumerable number of flowers have fallen. But he chooses to say, who knows how many have fallen.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know, and when you put it this way, it almost feels like he's trying to distance himself from the knowledge of how many flowers were broken. Because if he asks, then he can choose not to find out.
Oh. So would you say it's almost like, I know there is death in life, but I'm going to focus on the nice part.
You have made it extremely philosophical.
Yeah. When we read like this, it's very like 庄子, but I've been reading so much 庄子, I think I'm just reading it in everything.
You can read, you're reading Zhongnan into everything.
Yeah.
We should ask what Prof thinks about it.
Yeah. I'll just send him this link lah. I'll show him the timestamp. Yeah. Should we move on?
Yes.
I'd like to do a few more before we, maybe like 2-3 under 2-3-5. Oh, this is so famous
Okay.
also. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you want to read? Sorry.
Okay. 夜思 in the quiet night. 床前明月光，疑是地上霜。举头望明月，低头思故乡。So bright a gleam on the foot of my bed. Could there have been a frost already? Lifting myself to look, I found that it was moonlight. Sinking back again, I thought suddenly of home.
I
Thoughts?
thought usually I thought the title is 静夜思, not just 夜思.
Me too.
Right. Okay. And they'll work with, yeah. So the missing character is like the quiet. That's in the English. I've also, this is also so famous that like it's hard to look at it with fresh eyes. Yeah. How? I thought it's interesting. There's this very explicit, like he's telling you like he's raising his head and then he's like lowering his head. Like,
and that makes the parallelism here very neat.
Yeah.
There's the raising and the lowering, the
Right.
thinking of and the looking at.
Yeah. Because here they're using the same character twice, right? The toe twice, which usually would be like not cool, but this is very, but he chose to use it here.
Yeah. So one interpretation I've heard of this poem is that so Li Bai was traveling somewhere where this poem seems to take place during also a seasonal transition. So that's why he expects there to be frost, but there isn't. So maybe it's like late autumn or something like that. So one interpretation I've heard is that he is a wanderer, right? Like a 客. So he's wandering somewhere where the climate is very different from his hometown or from Chang'an, where he wants to be. So he's somewhere where even during this transition, it doesn't frost on the ground. Frost doesn't appear on the ground in winter because maybe it's a bit more humid or it's a bit warmer than he's used to. So that's why he looks at the ground and expects there to be frost. But actually it's just the moonlight. So it's supposed to show like him being in a different world when he's wandering around. Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's like entirely correct. Like it's just an interesting thought. Yeah.
I guess it does make sense that like it's almost like, oh, I thought there's this actual physical thing, which is the frost on the ground, but it turns out just to be moonlight. It's almost like
it's empty.
Yeah, I guess. But it's almost like it's like, oh, I thought this is something real, but it's just an illusion. Oh, I wonder what the emotional state is. Yeah.
But even though like what he's seeing is something illusory, it still can evoke real thoughts of his hometown. Like even though he knows that it's just moonlight,
Right.
it's just reflection of moonlight. It still can conjure up those real memories.
Mm. Do you want to talk about the symbolism of the moon? Because it feels like it's a very pregnant sort of symbol. It's very laden with like significations, right?
It's
Yeah.
like quite late at night for me, so my brain isn't really working fast enough for that.
Okay,
Maybe you
okay.
should have a go.
I guess one thing that pops to mind is like there's sort of this idea that it's like everyone is looking at the same moon, right? So it's almost like universal in a way. I guess there's also this Buddhist metaphor of like, or maybe even like later Neo-Confucian, they might say that, it's like there's this moon, like everyone can have like the reflection of the moon. Like they can all have their own reflection, but it's the same moon. It's almost this relation of like one to like many. Yeah, yeah. But also I cannot stop myself thinking of like that song, the 月亮代表我的心. Like the moon represents my heart. So I'm like, I think it's also this sense of like the moon is round, like my love is perfect, right? Something like that, right?
The moon is round, and round has the same sound as reunion.
Oh, really? That's why.
Yeah, part of it is.
It's like 圆 and like 团圆, is it?
Yeah.
Right? Isn't it the same 圆? I feel like the 圆 and 团圆 is like perfect
Oh yeah,
or
it is. Yeah, it's the same word.
it's like,
You're
yeah,
right.
like rounded, like perfection. Yeah.
How would you apply the theory of one and many to this context?
I guess maybe just here is like he raises his head to look at the moon, and then it's like, oh, this is the same moon in my hometown.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But he also the moon thing keeps showing up, right? Like 明月 appears twice also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess if you want to like, I mean, there's also the Ming character has a moon inside lah. Like,
Hidden
yeah,
moon.
yeah.
There's a Yue in Wang as well.
Hmm. Red Wang. Oh, yeah. This is a stretch, but do you think there's almost like the repetition of like the same thing? Like it's almost like he keeps ruminating, like he keeps thinking the same thoughts, and that's reflected in. But there's quite a bit of repetition, even though there's just like 20 characters, which is like pretty wild, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I think
明月
so.
twice.
I mean, he
Yeah,
could have chosen a different word, but he didn't.
yeah. And I guess the emphasis on head is almost like, it's like he's in his own head almost.
Oh. Do you think that he is raising his head and lowering it like repeatedly? Or is it just once?
Well, like raving. It could be repeated, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh.
Then it's another circle, another cycle.
Oh. That's true. Huh. What do you think of like, I think speaking of cycles, it's like it starts with like the 床前, right? Like in the bed, it's very intimate. And it also ends with like, his hometown. It's also very intimate.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mm. Yeah, like he begins alone in his bed, but
Hmm.
he ends together with his family members in his thoughts.
Hmm. Oh wow. Yeah. No wonder it's so famous.
Yeah. Has this rehabilitated the poem for you?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
People in the chat,
nice.
yeah, the people in the chat are saying like, oh yeah, this is so famous. Like even as foreigners, they have to memorize. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. So,
Is it hard to memorize?
yeah, I don't know. You guys tell
Please
me.
let us know. Difficulty
Yeah.
on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah. And is our analysis make it less painful, I guess. Make it a more rewarding experience. Yeah. So good though. So good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. I love him.
Yeah. Actually, I realized I don't think we have time to do it. I think we have time for one more. Do you want to do the one that they were saying just now? The Wang Wei's Shan
Oh,
Ju Qiu Is that right?
yes. Okay, let me send you the link. I found it just now.
Okay. Is there an English translation?
I do not think so. We can manage.
Okay.
Send it to the chat.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Wow. Can you read this?
Okay. 山居秋暝，空山新雨后，天气晚来秋。明月松间照，清泉石上流。竹喧归浣女，莲动下渔舟。随意春芳歇，王孙自可留。Okay,
What does it
I
mean
think
now?
it's making sense. Oh, and
Okay.
there's a translation in Chinese.
Yeah, you explain that. You explain.
So in the empty mountain, after new rain, the climate of a coming autumn comes late.
They say it is the 傍晚的天气, so it's like the dusk.
天气晚来秋，天气晚来秋。
Yeah. Is there a note here? No.
No. You can come back to it later.
Yeah, okay.
Then the bright moon shines through the pine trees, and the clear geyser flows atop stones. Women returning from washing clothes chatter amongst the bamboo grove, and as the fisher boats enter the river, they ruffle the lotus plants.
Wow.
随意春芳歇。So even though the sights of spring have ended, Wang Sun, so the nobleman still can remain here.
Wow, I'm a bit lost.
I'm passing.
Okay.
So Wang Wei is living in the mountains, and he's describing a mean, so an evening. And then he's describing the action of moonlight on the pine trees and the movement of the spring water on the stones. And then there's a bit of parallelism where right as the washerwomen return home, the fishermen are just entering the river to start fishing at night. And then he says that even though the sights of spring, so the flowers of spring are gone, like the moon and the spring water, and getting to watch the people go about their occupations. This is still a sight that he's willing to stay for.
Mm. Hmm. Huh. Still very lost. Am I just tired?
I think so. How about you talk through the poem?
Well, I mean, I noticed the Kongshan again, the empty mountain again, right? Which is like interesting. And then there's also the Ming Yue coming straight from the Li Bai just now. I guess, is he talking about it's almost like the air, I guess. And then is the play of light, which is the same as the Lu Zhai one, the first poem we did. And also a sense of movement, I guess, like constant movement of the stream on the stones. I guess the movement continues out, like the women sort of coming back and then go at the fishing vessel. And I guess it seems like the last one is supposed to be very significant, right? Because the first three are like almost like set up for his some sort of emotional take on it. And he says what? So it's like, even if the flowers and grasses of spring disappear, this sight itself is enough for me. I'm using the interpretation now. They keep telling me to hop up. Yeah. So there's almost something about this sight that is very meaningful, right?
There's like this trope where people, like poets, will describe spring ending, and it's always coupled with melancholy, because they will describe the flowers withering and like losing the bright pinks and the bright reds of the spring scenery. And then it brings to mind like the passage of time and the loss of life. So when he says 春芳歇 here, like the sights of spring are diminishing, I think that's like what he's referring to. The fact that usually spring fading is supposed to bring one sorrow. But in this case, he has all of these other things to observe. So he can still stay here and remain content.
I think that's helpful to me, because first you're saying like spring is almost like decline. You were saying something like that, right? I guess almost all the images here are about changes, right? So the first one is like right after the rain, and then it's like I don't know, if they read this one as like the dusk, then it's also like the transition between day and night. So it's about like interstices, right? Like gaps, like the middle. And then we have it here, like the light is shining through the gaps in the trees. And then again, movement is like the stream over the rocks. And the women coming back. And here is the lotus leaf is like moving up and down. So it's almost, I guess, it's this sense of like, if we're gonna take a Buddhist reading, it's like there's the transience, but there's also the beauty, and then he contrasts the transience and the motion with this like this Leo, right, at the end. It's like staying. So almost like it is through change that we have some form of, I don't know, something almost permanent, something lasting. And I guess it's a mental state, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's very clearly trying to create this atmosphere of peacefulness. Like especially with his last statement about how he doesn't need a lot to be content, and how he's like perfectly content to stay here. So there's that stillness, but then around him there's a lot of dynamism. Like people are coming and going, and the natural elements are doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. So I guess it's this image of like a person who is living in harmony with nature. Like the person is content to be within nature, and nature is operating as it should around him.
This reminds me of Zhuangzi. Or at least there's the image of like the potter's wheel, right? Where everything is spinning and changing, but like the center is in some sense stationary. Yeah, like that. The way you said it, like reminds me of that. Yeah.
Right. Like the person who is meditating in the center, and while everything is changing around him.
Yeah. Or it's like Tai Chi also, like, or like airbending is like all the circles, but like you're in the center.
Well, I'm picturing, those cut scenes where it's like someone is on the street, then they're standing still, and then everyone's like walking past them. The time lapse kind, yeah.
Oh, that's a good image, yeah.
Wang Wei did it first.
Yeah, the first time lapse guy. Yeah. Should we call it a day then?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, okay, then.
Okay.
I guess thanks to everyone who came, and yeah, we know we haven't been releasing our normal videos for a bit, so we hope this was something fun. And like, yeah, if you liked it, please tell us, and then we can do more. I mean, we still have like what, 290 more poems. So yeah.
How many did we get through today?
Let me see. I don't think we even did 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, we did 10. Okay.
Oh, shocking.
Just nice. Yeah.
290 more.
Yeah, and we did all the most famous ones.
There'll be more famous ones to come.
Oh yeah. I want to do the 黄鹤楼 one, the 更上一层楼.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
I want to do the one where what's his name? Li Shangyan talks about his wife.
Oh. Is it the wet hair one?
I don't think so. No, it's the one where he's trying to say that they talked for a very long time. But the image he used was there are a lot of broken candles lying around us.
Okay.
So it means that they kept snipping the candle off to keep the light going while they were talking through the night.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, let's keep doing this. This is fun.
Okay.
Okay. And any parting words to the 5 people who are watching?
I hope y'all enjoyed this. This felt like a monologue. That was very fun. Thank you for being here, Xinghao.
Yeah. It's good that we did it as a pair. I think if we did it on our own, it's very awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy your empty mountain comments.
Yeah. I guess to do the YouTube thing, like please like, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy this. Yeah. And I see from the chat some of you said it's really nice. So yeah, I also really enjoyed this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of them said you're very hot too.
Please don't say that. Can
Yeah.
I assign everyone homework? Go back and memorize one poem from today. We will be checking next time.
Okay. Wow, such a mom vibes. Asian mom, literally the Asian mom asking you to memorize stuff.
I could be a Chinese teacher.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, please do comment if you
Yeah.
do memorize something. And yeah, I'll see you all whenever it next happens. Hopefully in a week. Okay. All right. See you. Bye-bye.